wanted to show you this new merch. Look!
I would love to be able to search how many times this man has used the word breast in this book.
Mood read. Oh, that's terrifying. It's currently October 3rd and I have yet to watch anything spooky.
But don't you worry, because Hattie is here to help.
Hi friends and welcome back. It is the start of another reading vlog, but this one is going to be a little bit different and a lot of fun because I am going to be playing Spookopoly for this week. If you have no idea what Spookopoly or Spookopoly is, it is a readathon hosted by Becca from Becca in the Books. It is based off of her TBR game Spookopoly. It's happening during the month of October and of course it is spooky themed and I am so very excited to be participating in this. I sometimes do a TBR, but this time I wanted to do a roll as I go. So I think my plan is to do 3 rolls. Now I'm going to roll and then read and then roll and then read. So kind of like as I go, but I'm planning to only do 3 rolls. With that being said, I am going to play by the Spookopoly rules. And if I roll a double, then that means I add a book or add an extra roll. So then it'll be 4, etc, etc. So we'll see when this vlog actually ends. But my goal is to start with 3 rolls. So we need to do the first roll, find out what I'm going to be reading. This is the board. I love it. It is so cute. And I will go through obviously all of the prompts with you guys as I hit them, but I'm so excited. I love doing Spookopoly every year. It is so much fun. Rolling just gets me excited to find out what I'm going to read next because I want to hurry up and finish my book so that I can do my next roll and find out what I'm going to be reading. So it's always a ton of fun and I think that's pretty much it. I don't have any plans for this. We're just going to see what I land on and that's what we're going to go with. I don't have any specific books in mind. I am going to let my odds be ever in Spookopoly's favor. Okay, so I'm going to be using my handy dandy extra die to be a counter. We're going to start on go like everyone else. I will have chance cards and all of that stuff, but I didn't put them on the board just because, I don't know, this is not really laying as flat as I wanted to when I printed it out, so they were going to slide off. I'm not really sure that that was in frame. So that ended up being a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. TBR Vet. Okay, so for our first roll, we got a TBR Vet, and this is not the most exciting first roll prompt, at least for me. It may be for you, but for me, it's a TBR Vet for a reason. There's something about this book that has not really called to me. However, this is a book that I've been meaning to read for forever. People have been screaming at me to read for forever, and it is a horror spooky season classic. It is something that everyone, I feel like, but me has read, and we're gonna go with Salem's Lot by Stephen King. I have not read a lot of Stephen King, full disclosure. I read The Stand, or at least most of it, but ended up DNFing it when I was almost done just because it was way too long. And then I have actually also read The Dark Tower. I've read The Gunslinger, but that one I actually do plan to continue. I quite liked that. I just never continued on in the series because it is so long, but I do plan to continue on. Those are the only 2 Stephen King books that I have read. So I feel like this is one of his classics. This is the one that people say that they love, that is actually scary. It is like quintessential early King. And so I feel like it's time that I read it. Do you need me to give you a synopsis? Because I think it is about a man that returns to Jerusalem's lot and he hopes to explore the Marston House, which is an old mansion, to give him inspiration for his new book. But 2 young boys venture into the woods and only one returns alive. There's something sinister at work. I'm pretty sure that this involves vampires, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. And I'm excited to finally say that I have read like a traditional Stephen King, one of the ones that people tell you it's actually okay to start with for his works, and see if maybe I have a little bit of a different opinion on Stephen King after reading this. So it's not short, but it's also not too long. The print in it is pretty big. It's like 600 and something pages, but I think the audiobook's only like 15 or 16 hours, so not too bad. This is what we're kicking off with. I'm terrified. Not terrified because it's scary. I'm terrified because this book intimidates the crap out of me, but wish me luck. Good evening, friends. Hello. I was going to chat with you guys while I am getting ready for bed because I am a little bit further into Salem's Lot, and so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, give you my first impressions. But before I do that, I wanted to show you this new merch. Look! As you guys know, I'm a co-host for the Backlist Book Club, which is hosted by Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy, and she has got new backlist merch out for the, I think it's 2022 year, 2022, 2023 year, whatever. And it is band inspired. And oh my gosh, you guys, like, look at this, how cute it is. This is Backlist World Tour. It has like top hits moments. And then on the back, Hopefully you guys can see this. On the back, it's got like all of our live show dates and then the book and then the ones that we canceled. Like, it's so freaking cute. And like this particular sweatshirt is super comfy. Also got the t-shirt, which is tie-dye, and I just, oh, they are so cute. She did such a good job. So I will link, I think I can find the links to buy these and I will leave them down in the description box if you guys want to check them out. But like, I could not be happier with it. It's so cute. It's so comfy. And this is like the premium sweatshirt and it's just that heavy, good material. It's super soft. I absolutely love it. So after I'm gushed about that, I have gotten to about 200 pages into Salem's Lot by Stephen King. And honestly, I don't know where the horror is. I'm trying to find it because if you find it, let me know. We are doing a lot of talking and we're doing a lot of talking about people's like boobs and a lot of like talks about gay people and not in a good way. And I know that this is Stephen King. Like, I know that he had a really bad problem with that, especially in the beginning of his career, but like, it's not necessary. It really isn't. And he's doing so much of that like set the scene stuff, which is basically him just writing a bunch of stuff that nobody really cares about, or at least I don't care about. I'm just waiting for the horror to happen. And I mean, 200 pages in is not a little bit. And I don't know. We had like a kid go missing and there was like a creature or something involved in that, but it lasted a chapter and then we had a funeral and that was it. Like, that was it. That was all we got. So I don't know. I'm just wondering if maybe I'm not a Stephen King girly. And I mean, I knew that I probably wasn't a Stephen King girly, but you know, I don't know. I'm struggling with it. And I wanted to be a Stephen King girly. Like, I want to love Stephen King, but I'm just not vibing with it right now. So I'm gonna finish taking off my makeup. I will chat with you guys once I'm a little bit further in, probably a little over halfway. We'll touch base again. It's not one that I'm like gonna DNF or anything. It's fine. And I know that Stephen King is like such a beloved author. I'm struggling. I'm struggling. And I knew that. I knew I was probably gonna struggle when I started this. That's why it's been sitting on my shelves for so long. But I don't know, it's just, I don't understand where the horror is. I really don't. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna finish taking off my makeup, getting ready for the evening, go get in bed, get kind of cozy and read a little bit more of Salem's Lot.
I'm taking a quick walk while I'm on lunch. It's really nice outside. It's a little bit warm, but there's a nice breeze, and honestly, like, the leaves are turning and rustling as I'm walking, and it's great. So it's always nice to get out of the office for a little bit. But I just wanted to tell you guys that I am about 60% into Salem's Lot, and I really kind of wish that I had a e-copy because I would love to be able to search how many times this man has used the word breast in this book. Like, it's just, sorry, I was walking by people and that seemed kind of awkward, but it's just, it doesn't feel very necessary to me. It all kind of seems to come out of the blue and it's just very vulgar, and I know I've been told that that's a King thing, but it just, it takes me out of the story. And so I feel like I'm a little bit zoned out because every time something like that happens, I just check out and wait for something cool to happen. Although I will say in the second part, we have gotten more into the vampire type thing, and I really wasn't getting any of that in the first part. So that's been good. We had a creepy scene. I am curious to see how it scares everybody pantsless because I really haven't seen that so far. So fingers crossed that I get to something like that soon, but I'm gonna continue. I will check in with you guys when I'm done with it, and fingers crossed that I find the spooky.
Good evening, everyone. I am home and I am happy to report that I have finished Salem's Lot by Stephen King. And I can confidently say there is a reason that this was a TBR vet. It's just not my style. Mostly this is... okay, let me back up. I do see where the horror came in. It was about 60% before we really got a lot of horror. And I know that a lot of people will say that he was building tension and making you really understand these characters prior to really giving you the true horror elements. And I also think that there is an argument to be made for some of the horror elements being more about the horrors of small towns, and that not all small towns are always these like church-going, up-to-do, well, like, morals individuals, that sometimes small towns do have a sinister like underbelly. So I think that there is an argument to be made for that. I just didn't care. And I think that that's a me thing, is I don't like that kind of horror. It it was a little too meandering for me. But I think that a large part of where I just didn't love this is normally like the breast and the male gaze and that all kind of thing, it doesn't usually bother me, but this was just so gratuitous that it took me out of the story every single time it happened. And unfortunately, it happened a lot. So I just was like, oh, here we go again, yet another one of those scenes. And even if it was in the context of like what was going on in the horror, it just was another like eye roll kind of situation by the point that it got there. And it's just not for me. It's not for me. So I don't know if all King is like that. I have heard that it is a problem, especially with his earlier work. So I don't know if I should try The Shining or Pet Sematary, or if that's going to be a problem for me as well. I don't know. I don't know. Normally it doesn't bother me. So I'm surprised it bothered me as much as it did in here, but it was just annoying more than anything. And combine that with the fact that I was never truly scared and I was mostly bored, it was more obvious than I think it probably would have been normally. So anyway, that was aggravating. I'm done. It was probably a 2-star because I don't think that it's necessarily a bad book. And like I said, the horror elements I think just weren't my cup of tea, but yeah, I struggled with this. I was not a huge fan. So I can take out the bookmark and we are done. This is my Patreon bookmark for September and it's so shiny and I love it. But anyway, I don't know what I'm gonna do for the rest of the evening. I will probably just kind of chill. I do need to edit a video and do a couple of more admin type things before we're gonna leave for vacation. So I may end up doing that tonight and then I will roll in the morning for my next book, which I am super, super excited for. I don't know what I'm gonna get, but hopefully Spookopoly is a little bit nicer to me than TBR Vet. Okay, so you guys literally just saw the clip of me telling you that I had finished Salem's Lot and that I was gonna roll tomorrow morning. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I can't wait till tomorrow morning. We're gonna roll now. So let's flip you around and we'll do my next roll to find out what book 2 is going to be. Okay, so here we are, Spookopoly board. Roll number 2. Got us a 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mood read. Oh, that's terrifying. Okay, mood read. Okay, so we have 2 choices, I think here. Actually, maybe 3 choices. So the first choice is Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. This one I've heard so things about, but the first chapter really intrigued me when I read it for my Fantasy First Chapters video. So I am curious to give this one a try, and I would rather potentially read One for My Enemy, but I don't know. This one just is the chapter that I read first, and so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I want to go with this one. Other option is a Darcy Coates. So I have Lee Harker and Hunted, and I am very excited to read both of these. So I don't know which one I want to go with. I may read the first chapter of both of them, but I'm leaning more toward Darcy rather than Olivia Blake just because I think this one is a little bit slower and Darcy is always like super fast paced. And right now I kind of need something super fast paced, something I'm going to want to fly through. So I think I'm in the mood for one of these 2, but I will check back in once I have officially decided and started my next read. So I've been sitting here for the last like hour-ish editing my book haul, which ended up being so many books, you guys. It was so many books. Remind me not to wait like 3 months before doing a book haul ever again. But with that being said, I decided to go with Hunted by Darcy Coates, and I was listening to this on Scribd because all of Darcy's audiobooks are now on Scribd, which is fantastic. And it's just such an easy listen that I'm already 100 pages in and I feel like I just started it. This is following a young woman. She is like a media influencer and she has decided to go on like a trip and take a bunch of pictures out in this forest area. But one of her friends notices that she has not uploaded the pictures like she said she was going to do that day, and he starts to get very concerned, and then they realize that she is actually missing. And we know that there was like something in the woods, but we don't know what was in the woods after her. And so far I'm really liking this. It's not at all what I expected. I really expected this to follow her running through the woods, but it opened that way, and then we have kind of panned out from her into her friends and family who are currently looking for her, which is not at all what I expected. I definitely see how people said this gives them more thriller than horror vibes. At the moment, it definitely is. And I don't know, it's just not what I expected, but not in a bad way. I am enjoying this quite a bit, and I'm curious to see where it's going to go because I'm assuming we're going to circle back around to the woman that was missing, but we'll see how that goes. Audiobook is really good. I like Darcy Coates. It's just so easy to read and listen to while also keeping you on the edge of your seat. She does a great job with atmosphere. That's something that I think she almost always gets perfectly right, and I love it. So I'm having a great time with this. I was going to do Lee Harker because it looked like it was shorter than this one, but this one is actually a shorter audiobook, even though it's a 400-page book. I don't understand. But anyway, having a good time with it, quite enjoying it, and once I am probably about halfway, I will check back in with you guys. I'm trying to decide if I am going to listen to some more of that, if I'm going to finish editing this book haul, or if I want to watch a scary movie. Because it's October, it's currently October 3rd, and I have yet to watch anything spooky, which I feel like is a crime. I should have started October with a spooky movie, but we'll see. We'll see what I end up getting up to. It is 7 o'clock, so I don't have too much more time tonight. I'm an old lady that has to go to bed at a reasonable hour, or I get kind of cranky. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go do all of that and talk to you guys in a bit. Okay, so one of my favorite horror movies of all time is Cabin in the Woods, and I say horror loosely because if you've seen it, you know, but there's some great actors that I love in here. I love the way that it doesn't take itself too seriously, but also has all of the horror tropes. And it's just, I don't know, it's old school and I love it. And I think that I am going to kick off spooky season with this. So I'm very excited to watch this. It's been like 2 years since I've seen it, so. So I just got done watching Cabin in the Woods, and I'm going to use Ollie as a prop right now, so hopefully he doesn't move too much. But we thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I am going to give my rewatch an 8 out of 10. It's one of those horror movies that is a horror movie in the fact that it is like gory, but it doesn't take itself too seriously, and I love the like sarcastic humor that's in it, and I just think that it's a really fun take on making fun of horror movies, and I really enjoy it. It's one that I try to watch at least every other year, and I don't remember when it came out, but I remember enjoying it when I saw it in theaters, and it was still good, so I would recommend it. If you decide to watch it though, just know that, I mean, it's not really one of those horror movies that you're supposed to take too seriously, so if you like for your horror movies to be very serious, this one might not be for you, but if you don't like super silly horror movies, still give it a try because it's definitely serious, but it's a serious spoof, if that makes sense, like a serious parody. Is that a thing? I don't know. But I think it does a good job with it and I enjoy it, so I recommend. Ollie is just back here like living his best life. Look at that. Look at that. Like, to be a dog. I wish this was me all the time. Anyway, I just wanted to check in with you guys because I am about halfway into Hunted by Darcy Coates, and I'm really enjoying this one. It's definitely not what I expected. I think I told you guys that in the first clip, but it has never really gone in the direction that I expected it to, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I think that the pacing is really well done. We're getting different points of view between the family members that are looking for the sister as well as the cop that is investigating this, and how both of those different points of view are impacting the story. And we are starting to get some moments where they're going into the woods, and then we've also got the, like, he's not a boyfriend, but he's very interested in her, and he's decided to go off on his own to try to find her. So we're getting like all of these different perspectives, even though they're not true points of view, it is all of these different angles of the story, and I'm really liking that. Darcy Coates does do a very good job of creating unlikable yet realistic characters, because I won't say that anyone in here is super likable. They're all kind of obnoxious, but in a way that makes perfect sense to the story. We've got the cop, and she is in a job that she doesn't really like, and she's in a job that she's not necessarily suited for, but she gets to keep doing it. A boss that she doesn't love. We've got the guy that is interested in her, but he's given stalker vibes, and it's a little bit like, whoa, bro, maybe you should slow it down. And then we've got protective older big brother who is being a little overbearing, and I just think that all of those perspectives are working really well together, even though they're grating on my nerves. They're grating on my nerves in a very believable way to the situation, which I am quite enjoying. So overall, I think that this is really good so far. I wasn't surprised that I would like Darcy, but this is definitely the fast-paced, engaging book that I was looking for. It's so easy to read. Like, I literally was sitting at work just flying through this and thought, oh crap, I'm going to end up needing a book sooner than I thought, because it's just so easy for me to fly through and listen to this. I'm going to read a little bit more of this tonight. I'm on Patreon sprints with Lexi and Cassidy, so hopefully I can get a little bit more done of this, and then before bed, bed, I think I will have finished it because it's only got a couple of hours left. So if I am able to finish it, I will check in with you guys, give you my final thoughts, but I'm really hoping as of right now they're going to be very positive. Ignore the messy unmade bed behind me. I'm about to get in it, so there is no reason for me to make it. But I wanted to tell you guys that it is a bit later. Patreon sprints are coming to an end, or at least my Patreon sprints are coming to an end. Tomorrow's Thursday, and so I unfortunately do have to work. And now that the way that my work schedule has changed, I open the office and do early treatment on Thursdays and Fridays. So I have to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning. And when I have to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning, I can't stay up until midnight on sprints. As much as I would love to, body says no. Because remember how I told you before that if I didn't get enough sleep, I get a little bit cranky, which is not entirely untrue. But I did want to talk to you guys because I have now finished Hunted, and I think I'm going to give this a 4-star. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was a little worried. I thought that probably based off of the synopsis and what I had heard about it, that I was going to give it a 3-star. I was going to like it, but not love it. But I will say that I was engaged the whole time that I was reading this. Before I knew it, I was over halfway through, and then I was finished, and I was just wanting to know. I wanted to flip the pages or keep listening and find out what was happening rather than doing other things. And it's been a while since I have had a thriller book keep me on the edge of my seat like that. I think Darcy always does an amazing job at creating tension. This is no different. It definitely had me like, oh crap, what's gonna happen next? And I like the way that it ended. I thought that it was a very satisfying ending. Darcy is more of a cozy horror kind of author, but I think that this one was a good blend between horror and cozy, as in the ending more so than anything, even though this is not really a horror nor is it super cozy, so take that with a grain of salt. But either way, I really enjoyed this. I thought that it was very well done. I'm so glad that I finally picked it up because I honestly had been avoiding this one a little bit because I was afraid it was going to be just kind of mediocre, so I'm so glad that I was incorrect. I love it when I'm wrong in the right direction. Ollie is just really having the time of his life tonight. This is the second clip of him showing off in the background. But anyway, I think I'm going to go get ready for bed and head into work tomorrow. I don't know if I'll get to roll before I go to work, mostly because it's going to be so early and I'm going to be running extremely late. But assuming that I get to, I will talk to you guys before work. If not, I will talk to you guys after work. Hello friends, I am obviously at work. I did not get to do a roll for you guys this morning because you haven't seen it yet. I was running very, very late and did not get out the door on time because I wanted to sleep in just a little bit. Like 5:30 a.m. comes really, really early and I just couldn't get out of bed. So I asked Cassidy if she would mind doing a roll for me because she was at home and I was like, I need a book. Like, I need a book to listen to at lunch and on my way home. And so she kindly did a roll for me. So let's watch and see what the roll ended up being.
Okay, Mel asked me to do a roll for her because she's at work and she can't get to her board, and I decided to be helpful. She landed on Mood to Read last, so let's see what I can get for her. I'm kind of hoping for a double just because I like chaos.
Rude.
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mary Shelley.
Okay, so she got Mary Shelley, which Becca has said can be literally Mary Shelley, or you can use this to interpret as like a sci-fi book because Mary Shelley is like the queen of sci-fi. And so I think for this one, I am probably going to go with Whalefall by Daniel Kraus for a couple of reasons. One, this is a sci-fi horror, and two, I've not heard spectacular things about it, so I need like the oomph to finally read it, even though I bought it. This is about a guy that is dealing with grief and ends up going out into the ocean and getting swallowed by a whale and trying to get out of the whale. And I've heard it's not as much horror as it is like grief exploration, so a lot of people didn't love it, but it is short, so let's hope that it's a better win for me.
Hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. This pick is trash. It needs to be thrown away, never to be seen again. But don't you worry, because Hattie is here to help. Yes, you heard it from me, folks. Hattie. I am Patty's much younger, much hotter, much cooler younger sister. And I'm here to help Mel with this awesome pick of mine. Mel, for this pick, I think that you need to read Briardark. This is a book, a horror book, about some scientists who go out to the wilderness to do some science things, you know, boring science things. When they get there, the science things, they just aren't sciencing. Like trees growing in 2 days instead of hundreds of years. Like full-grown trees. There'll be a baby and then a full-grown tree in 2 days. Like science ain't sciencing. And while they try to figure out why that's happening, they also are trying not to die because dead bodies keep showing up. There you go. If you see Patty, tell her Hattie says hi.
I am home from work. I feel like I'm always saying that because I'm always getting home from work. When am I going to stop having to get home from work? But until that happens, I am home from work and I have started my next book for Spookopoly. You guys have already seen the role and you've already seen where I was rudely interrupted by Patty's younger, she says hotter, it's questionable, younger sister of Patty rudely interrupted me and decided that I was not getting to read what I had picked because honestly, when am I going to get to pick the books that I'm actually going to read this month? Patty's already told me to throw out the TBR. Hattie's now telling me to throw out my read. Ugh. But anyway, she picked for me Briardark. And Briardark is a book that I had seen before but never really paid a whole lot of attention to. And I've seen it talked about a little bit more recently. This is apparently a cosmic, slightly sci-fi horror, which I did not realize, and it is following a group of people that set off on an expedition into the woods, and they're gonna go like explore this ice cap, and while they're out there, they discover a dead body. Their satellite phones are not working. The house that they were supposed to be gathering supplies at is not as it seems. Things are just not going right. And then we're in the present timeline where Holden, who is an IT tech for a college, finds this drive that has been just sitting there and he needs to figure out what it is and get it wiped and get it off the docket, realizes that it's got the account of the scientist and all of the things that were going wrong, and he starts to dig deeper and deeper and deeper into this story. I'm about 15 or so % into it so far. It's super easy to listen to, and honestly, I am very, very intrigued. We open with pretty much everything that is in the synopsis, but it's done in a way that keeps you a little on the edge of your seat and not really understanding what's going on. I know, like I said, what I've just told you, but I don't really understand how all of that is playing together, how things are working. Is this the past? Is this the present? Is it an account? Is it what's really going on? I'm not entirely sure at the moment, and I'm loving being a little bit unsure. It's just giving me on the edge of my seat vibes. I want to know what's happening. It's really creepy, like almost Blair Witch style, but not. And I really like that we're flipping back and forth between the present and the account as well, because I think that that's keeping the pacing really well done. You'll get to a point where you're like, what's going to happen next? And then it'll cut scene and you're like, dang it. So you have to keep listening to find out what's going to happen. And I like the Holden perspectives as well as he's trying to figure that out. So all of that is good. I think that the back says that this is Cosmic Horror meets House of Leaves, which I am intrigued by. I am very intrigued by to see how that plays out. But I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely going to be listening to this more tonight and tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a super, super busy day. My doc is actually out of the office for this whole week. And so the last couple of days of the week have ended up being a little bit more challenging than they normally are, just a lot more patience. So I don't know how much I'll get to read at work tomorrow, but I'm definitely hoping to get a little bit read. And then I think David's going to come over before we leave for Maine, and we're going to put up my outdoor Halloween decorations, which I am super excited about. So if we do get a chance to do that, I will give you guys some B-roll of that because I am very excited. He managed to find these like super cheap blow-ups at Walmart, and I'm hoping that they turn out okay because they weren't very expensive, but we like tested one in the house the other day and it was super cute. And so I'm excited to put those up along with my giant spider from last year. And I think it's going to be a good time. It's the first time I've really decorated for Halloween with blow-ups and things like that. I don't really get trick-or-treaters, so I don't know why I do it other than it makes me happy. So that's the only excuse I got.
Halloween decorations. Put some like wings on you or something. You could be part of the Halloween decorations.
He does. He would make a good bat.
He would.
so I wanted to really quickly chat with you about Briardark because I'm about halfway into it so far and I'm still really, really liking this one. It's not quite as gripping to me now as it was back in the very, very beginning. I do feel like we have got a decent bit of repetitiveness happening. Things just seem to be, even though they're different, it's very similar stuff happening over and over and over again. And so I am a little bit bored by that, but I'm still very intrigued. I don't mean that to say that I am bored. I'm like, okay, we got that. Let's keep going. Let's move on. Let's keep moving the plot forward. Let's learn some things. Right now, we're not really learning much of anything. And so it just feels a little like it's meandering because I'm like, okay, you have me really intrigued. I want to know what's happening, but I need little tidbits to keep me intrigued, to learn something that then leads me to another question, not to have the same questions for half the book, if that makes sense. The characters are definitely fine. I don't feel like they have just a ton of substance to them, and I honestly find that to be the case in a lot of horror books where the characters are there more to service the plot than they are to be like these grandiose, amazing characters, so it's okay. And then the only other thing that I think I said I liked in the beginning that is starting to be a little monotonous to me is Holden's point of view. He definitely has some interesting moments and we are learning a lot of cool things through his perspective. However, I don't really care about his girlfriend woes. I don't know. It's just, there are some character moments in that I'm just like, I don't care, move on. Let's learn something new. Let's see something cool again. I definitely prefer the point of view where they're in Briardark, but overall, I'm still having a good time. I still think that it's a lot of fun. It's just not quite as high up there as it was when I first started it. So I'm hoping that we'll get back to that point. The middle of the book always feel like lulls a little bit, and that's where I am. So I'm expecting things to pick up for us to get some more answers, and I'm very, very excited to get those. And I don't think I really have anything else to talk to you guys about right now. I'm currently packing, so I need to go continue to do that. I think I'm going to pop Briardark in and listen to it, hopefully finish it while I'm getting everything packed and ready to go. Hey guys, so I wanted to give you my final updates on Briardark. I did finish this morning on my way into work and I liked it a lot. I don't think that it's going to be a 5-star. I think it's probably going to be a lower 4-star. I did find myself, like I said, just getting a little bit bored with the repetitiveness of it. Mostly though, I liked the Briardark point of view a lot better than Holden's point of view, at least until we got toward the end. When we got toward the end, I was much more engaged again, and full disclosure, this is a series, so you definitely don't get all of the answers in this first book, and I liked it enough that I will be continuing on into the second book. I'm curious to see how all of that plays out. The ending did give us some answers, but definitely not as many as I thought it was going to, and I am quite intrigued. So I enjoyed this. I think that it is a horror that I would recommend to people, especially if you are a cosmic horror lover or if you are looking for a sci-fi type horror. I think that this one is a good choice. And yeah, I think that those are my final thoughts on Briardark. I don't really have a whole lot else to say other than I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I honestly expected to have more rolls. I expected the board to be a little bit meaner to me than it actually was, but we're gonna round it out at 3, which I feel like I had some solid reads. We had Salem's Lot, which I needed to get off the TBR anyway. Really enjoyed Hunted, really enjoyed Briardark, so vlog was a resounding success. Let me know down in the comments below if you have played Spookopoly and if it was nice to you or if it was not so nice to you and you've had a lot of doubles. Or if you are not playing Spookopoly, let me know what your favorite read of the month has been. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out but you don't really have anything else to comment, you can leave me a dice emoji because may the die be ever in your favor. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. As always, links to my Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads are all in the description box down below. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Bye!